Hey guys, today we're checking out how we are using ChatGPT-5 to do the invoice processing for us. And to do that, basically, we're going to use Tailride, which already has integrated the GPT-5 model, and we're going to go over how it actually uses the model to extract all the information from the invoices for us, right? It's not only for invoices, but for any payment document like receipts, purchase orders, or anything that we actually require to do our taxes or to do our bookkeeping, right? So we see here that we have the new model, right? But we're going to use the model via API, so we're just not going to use it from ChatGPT, right? So on Tailride, basically we need to create an account, and then in this case we already have an account. So I'm just going to go over to my account so I can show it to you how it's basically used and which data does it extract from documents, so we can then use this data to maybe send it to our bookkeeper, send it to Google Drive, send it to Google Sheet, or send it directly to our accounting software like QuickBooks, for example, right? So in this case, in the right, we already see a list of invoices, right? I'm just going to click on one. I'm going to delete it so we can actually reprocess it and I can show the process to you, right? So in this case, this is a cursor invoice, and to reprocess it, I have to delete it, because if I try to upload it again, it will mark it as already there. So it will duplicate all the invoices automatically, and it won't allow me to upload the invoice again, right? So again, I'm just going to click here on upload. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go and try and find the invoice that we were missing, which is this one, right? I'm just going to upload it, and then you see here that it says new invoice added successfully, and I'm just going to wait until it actually has processed the invoice, and it will show up here very quick, right? So you already see in this table that we have all these fields. We have the amount field from the invoice, we have the created date on the invoice, we have the invoice, have the country, right? You can see here that it just popped up the invoice that we processed right now. And basically I can also just preview the invoice, and it will show me the PDF from the invoice that I just processed. But here on the right, I also have all this information that it was just extracted right now using GPT-5, which is very accurate to process all this information from the invoice, right? So we don't actually just give GPT-5 the invoice, but we first have to extract all the text from here, which basically we use an OCR to do it, and then we send all the text to GPT-5 to extract some fields that we pass him that we want to extract from the invoice, right? So here we have the invoice ID. You can check here on the invoice number that it matches. We have the amount, which also matches here. We have the created date. If we check here, we have the date, which also matches. When's the due date, which also matches from the invoice. Who's the vendor, which is cursor in this case, and what's the vendor country, right? So you also hear that all this information was automatically extracted using GPT-5, but also we not only extract all this information, but a lot more, right? So you can just see here the table in full size, and then I'm going to click here. I'm going to select each one of the columns so you can see that we actually extract a lot of more information than the one that we just saw, right? So there are 31 fields available for selection. There are actually more there, but we only have 31 which are available to be seen from here. And then we can check, right? We have the vendor, which I could change it and manually edit it. We have the amount, which I could change also from here. Maybe change the maybe change the date, also maybe change the currency if it's not accurate enough. But as I was saying, GPT-5 is now very accurate, which will extract all of our invoices almost at a 99% accuracy very correctly, right? We have the invoice ID with these fields we already saw. Have the PO number, which is a purchase order. In this case, there was no number, so it's empty. We have the subject and the sender. This will basically only appear here if this was an invoice extracted from the email, which Tailride can do. You can just connect your emails and they will get extracted. So in this case, for example, you see this invoice here, which was extracted from the email, and we have the subject of the email from the email that it was extracted from. We have the sender. We have the email recipient, basically who was a recipient of that email. And then we have the vendor name, have the email, which is also extracted from here, have phone number from the vendor, we have the address from the vendor, city, state, the zip code, the country. Then we have a business ID if there's one in the invoice. Then we have the tax ID, right? And this is very, very important because if the tax ID is missing from some invoice, in some regulations in some countries, the invoice will not be valid, right? Then we have the bank account, which if it's shown on the invoice, it will also appear. We have the recipient name, which in this case, it's our company, the email, which is who the invoice is addressed to, our address, which is the recipient address. And we can then also, for example, I could filter by who was the sender, who was the recipient on these emails, and who's the company which the invoice was issued to. And then I can also filter by currency. You can see that I can do a lot of things from here, right? Then we have the payment method, which is also extracted from the invoice. We have the status of the payment, we have the subtotal, we have a tax amount. If the invoices contain a tax amount, in this case, these invoices are from the USA, so they don't contain a tax amount. But you can see here, this is a national invoice from Spain, and it contains a VAT of 21%, and it gets automatically extracted the subtotal and the tax amount, right? Then we have this very useful field, which if you've done accounting, I'm sure that it's kind of a nightmare for you because, well, maybe your accountant extracts all the line items manually. Maybe the line items inside the receipt, inside an invoice, has different tax treatment between them, right? So you have to actually separate the line items inside an invoice and treat them separately, right? So if I click here, I see that I have all the line items that they were specified on the invoice, right? You can see here that basically all that was inside the, well, you can see here that these descriptions, they were also extracted, and I can just check them from here, right? I can just see them from here, and well, this is very useful when you're doing accounting, and you can just avoid processing the invoices manually because this is very, very accurate, and your accountant or yourself don't have to actually do it manually if that's the case, right? We have this tax field, which is a manual field, and I can just add a tag here if I wanted, right? If I had just downloaded it, I wanted to mark something so I could filter it later, I can do it from here. And then we just have this attachment, which I can just use it to download the invoice, right? So you can see here that using GPT-5 to process our invoices is very, very accurate, right? We've seen multiple fields which were extracted directly from the document and which they were extracted very very well, right? So we can totally rely on this software on Tailride to process our invoices, right? But let's say that I have now this information, and what do I do with it, right? Because maybe if the information is just here on Tailride, it's just I can use it for anything, right? I have to log in here, have to check all these columns, I have to do all these things manually, and it will just take me maybe even more time to process them via Tailride than to do it myself manually, right? But I could just connect here Google Sheets account, right? And I'm going to disconnect here my sheet. I'm going to connect it again. I have to select a spreadsheet, right? But what we should do is just, let's create a new sheet. So basically we can test it from the beginning. Testing Google Sheets. Let's just delete this, and then what I'm going to do is go here. Let's see now if it will appear. Yeah, we can see it here, and I'm just going to select it, right? And you'll see here that I have all the available fields that I was just seeing there, but I have it here, right? By default, they are all selected. So basically, I'm just going to click on save because I want all of them. I could just order them differently or sort them differently, but well, it's okay for me for the testing, right? Let's see if that's a sheet that, yeah, that's the sheet that we just created, right? So let's see how we can send the information from one spreadsheet into the other, right? So in this case, well, I'm just going to close on the line items here. In this case, I'm just going to try and send this invoice, right? Let's click on add to sheet. And what will this do is basically send all this information directly into the spreadsheet, right? Let's see if it worked. Well, it actually worked perfectly, right? You can see here the date in which we added the invoice, the ID, the amount, currency, the date, the created date, all the fields that we were seeing, the line items here, they are all here for us to actually use this, right? But not only this, but I actually have also the Google Drive connected, and here I see the Drive file ID, right? You can see that it directly uploaded the invoice to Google Drive. It renamed the file name to specific name that I set up here. You see here that it's using this format, date, vendor, ID, and amount. You can see that this the date, the vendor, the ID, and the amount, right? You can change here to anything that you need. And I have it here, so I just could share this spreadsheet to my accountant, and then he could just have access to all my data directly without me actually doing anything, right? And as I also said, we actually can connect directly our emails, and it will pull all incoming invoices, receipts, documents from the emails, process them, and add them to our integrations. So this can be fully automated for me. I don't have to do it, right? Let's see, but this is not only it, because you saw here that I had to go here, click on add to sheet, and obviously we don't want that, right? So I'm going to show it to you. If I have my spreadsheet connected and I upload this again, right? Let's try and find the invoice. Yeah, I think that was it. No, that wasn't it. I'm going to try and find it again, which maybe not this one, but yeah, this one. So if I upload it again, it will reprocess the invoice. Obviously, the result of the extracted fields by GPT-5 will be the same, and it will also automatically add it into my Google Sheets as I had already connected it, right? And I have already set it up. So we can see here it popped up. Let's check on the spreadsheet, and correct, it's here also, right? So you can actually just connect your email accounts. It will extract all the incoming invoices from there, and then it will process them with GPT-5 very accurately, and it will send it directly to your integrations. And now I showed you the Google Sheet integrations, but the same happens with QuickBooks, with Xero, with, I don't know, with Google Drive, as you saw, and you can connect a bunch of integrations, so all the data is already forwarded automatically to your destinations without actually having to do anything, right? So well, this is how Tailride uses GPT-5, the new OpenAI model, to process invoices very accurately. And well, you can just go to trader.so and see our pricing plans and try any plan for free and without any commitment. So see you in the next video.